Red Heart, Coco Gauff's heartwarming act wins millions over. Tennis the moment we all fell in love with her. There are moments in sports that make you cheer, moments that make you gasp. And then there are moments that make you feel, that reach past courts, the cameras, the trophies, and land directly in the heart. This is a story of a moment that did exactly that. A moment that turned Coco Gauff from superstar athlete into a global symbol of kindness, humility, and humanity. A moment that made the world fall in love with her, not for her talent, but for her heart. The night everything changed. The lights at the Miami Open glowed like tiny suns, illuminating a night that felt more electric than most. Coco Gauff had just finished one of the most incredible matches of her season. A comeback victory that had the crowd roaring long after match point. Flashbulbs popped. Fans chanted her name. Reporters rushed courtside for interviews. But Coco wasn't focused on any of that, because just behind photographer's pit, barely noticeable through the chaos, she saw someone who shouldn't have been alone. A little girl, maybe 8 or 9, tears streaming down her face. A broken tennis racket clutched against her chest like a wounded pet. For a moment, Coco hesitated. Should she go over? Security was moving her toward the media zone. Cameras were waiting, interviews scheduled, sponsors watching. But her heart made the choice before her mind ever could. She broke formation. She stepped past security, and she walked directly to the trembling little girl, the girl with the broken racket. "Hey, sweetie," Coco said softly, crouching down to eye level. "What happened?" The girl tried to speak, but choked on tears. Her mother rushed over, breathless and apologetic. "I'm so sorry," the mother said. She didn't want to leave without watching the end of your match, and then her racket snapped in the crowd rush. The little girl sniffed. "I wanted to play like you," she whispered, "but now I can't." Coco's heart squeezed. She picked up the broken racket gently, examining it like something precious. "What's your name?" Coco asked. "Alyssa." "Well, Alyssa," Coco smiled, "I think you can definitely still play like me. You don't need this old thing." She stood up. Then, in one of the most unforgettable gestures a tournament had ever seen, Coco stepped back toward her bench, unzipped her bag, and pulled out her own match racket. Not a spare, not a practice one. Her actual match-winning racket. She handed it to Alyssa. "This one's yours now," Coco said. "Promise me you'll keep playing?" Alyssa's eyes widened. Her tiny hands shook as she accepted the gift. The crowd fell completely silent, then erupted in applause so powerful it shook the stadium. But Coco wasn't done. She hugged the little girl, a real, gentle, protective hug, and whispered something no microphone could catch. It didn't need to. The world had already heard what mattered. The moment that went viral. The moment was caught from a dozen angles. A father in the stands captured the hug. A reporter caught the handoff of the racket. A volunteer caught the slow-motion shot of the girl, crying, smiling, trembling. Within minutes, Coco and Alyssa became the #1 trend across the internet. Within hours, it became a global headline. Coco Gauff's beautiful act melts hearts worldwide. The sweetest moment in tennis history. When kindness beat everything else. Celebrities reposted the video. Grand Slam champions commented. Even people who had never watched tennis found themselves crying at their screens. It wasn't a PR stunt. It wasn't staged. It wasn't planned. It was pure heart, pure Coco, and the world felt it. The interview that broke the internet. Later that night, Coco sat down for an interview. Reporters asked her about the victory, the comeback, the strategy. She smiled politely until one journalist asked, "Coco, why did you give away your match racket?" Her expression softened. "I remember being her age," Coco said. "I remember dreaming big, wanting to be seen, wanting someone to believe in me. Sometimes one small moment can change everything." She paused. "I don't want to just win matches. I want to make people feel that they matter." The room fell silent. The reporter lowered her mic. And somewhere far beyond that interview room, children across the world picked up their rackets, old, new, broken, taped together, and swung them with new purpose. Alyssa's special invitation. 2 weeks later, an unexpected letter arrived at Alyssa's home. A formal invitation printed on elegant cardstock with golden edges. It read, "Dear Alyssa, you are invited to join Coco Gauff as her special guest at the finals of the Miami Open. Bring your new racket. It's time to make memories." Alyssa screamed so loudly that the neighbors thought something terrible had happened. Instead, something wonderful had. When tournament day came, Alyssa arrived in a tiny tennis dress. Coco's racket strapped over her shoulder like a superhero cape. Coco greeted her like they were old friends. "Ready to watch some magic?" she asked. Alyssa nodded eagerly. But the real magic happened later, when the crowd cheered for two. Coco walked onto the final match court with the entire stadium roaring her name. But then something unexpected happened. Coco turned around, waved at Alyssa, and invited her to walk beside her, hand in hand. A superstar and her biggest fan. The stadium exploded. People stood. Some cried. Some cheered too loudly to hear themselves. The commentators' voices trembled. This is why Coco Gauff is loved across the world. One said, "This is bigger than sports." The lesson Coco teaches the world. That night, Coco didn't just win a trophy. She won something greater. Millions of hearts. Because kindness is rare. Public kindness, pure, genuine, unforced, is even rarer. She reminded the world that champions aren't defined only by medals. Greatness goes beyond courts and cameras. A single act of compassion can inspire a generation. A hero is someone who lifts others up, even in their brightest moment. Coco proved that you can be fierce and gentle, strong and soft, competitive and compassionate, all at once. That true greatness is not measured by victories, but by the lives you touch. The final scene, a message from Coco. A month later, Coco posted a photo on Instagram. It showed Alyssa smiling proudly, swinging Coco's racket during her first junior tournament. The caption read, "If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, lift someone up with you." The world didn't just like the post. It felt it. And that was the moment the world fell in love with her, not for her strength on the court, but for the strength of her heart. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.